Coronation Tea.
Yes.
Am I right in saying that King Charles's favourite tea is Darjeeling, apparently?
Well, to be honest with you, we don't actually know because it's a very closely guarded secret in general. But
I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out for you. Good morning, everyone. It's Sinead with Free Tours by FTBFLondon. I'm taking a little breather. I'm actually taking in the sights. I'm sitting right in front of St. Clemendane's Church on Fleet Street. And we are going to head into one of the most beautiful stores right here on Fleet Street. Nestled amongst some of the biggest, most historic buildings is by far the quaintest but the most historic shop in this entire city. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have had the privilege of being allowed to film inside in Twinings Tea store. And first, let's take a look at where we are, ladies and gents. So here we are on Fleet Street. In the middle of all these incredible buildings is this absolutely beautiful gem in London. Quite possibly one of the most historic shops in the entire of London. Today is all about Twinings Tea store. Now look at the gorgeous, gorgeous shop front there, ladies and gents. Now it was originally known as the Golden Lion, and as you can see right up here, there is a golden lion on display. And you'll also see the Royal Warrant, and in fact their first Royal Warrant was gifted to the store by Queen Victoria in 1837, and ever since it's had a long association with the royal family, having royal warrants in every royal household since Queen Victoria in 1837. Look at this gorgeous shop front. So we're going to have a little historic tour through some of the blends here, some of the more famous ones, and we're going to start in just a moment with Earl Grey. And there is a fascinating story with regards to Earl Grey. So here we have the House of Twinings was founded in 1706 by Thomas Twining, who purchased Tom's Coffee House at the back of this site, where he introduced tea, and in 1717, as reiterated earlier on, he opened up the Golden Line, selling dry tea and coffee. Now, since I have been here, folks, there has been at least 12 tourists banging down the door. Now, we're here early and we've been very, very fortunate in that they've given us access to the shop floor. So this is the story of Earl Grey. Now, I only read about this morning and it's absolutely fascinating, and Twinings is super famous for their Earl Grey blends. Their Earl Grey, they were the first to make Earl Grey. And it tells the story right here of the Prime Minister, Charles Grey II. And the story goes that during a diplomatic mission to China, one of the Prime Minister's, Charles Grey's, British envoys, heroically saved the life of a Chinese mandarin. And as a token of thanks, a gift of tea was given to him alongside the recipe of how to reproduce it, which was unusual because they were usually a closely guarded secret, the making of these teas. So when he returned, he produced this and he gave it to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister was absolutely enamored, and he asked Twinings to reproduce this on a large scale. Now, over the years, someone has disputed, other tea blends have disputed this, and they have said that they are the ones. But there's a little bit of information here. In 1831, the first Earl Grey, we created the first ever Earl Grey blend named after Prime Minister Charles Grey II. While many other tea brands try to hold this claim, in 2011, Philip Kent Grey, the current and 7th Earl Grey, officially endorsed Twinings as the original inventor. Now one of the most popular blends of tea in the world all came about as a result of the British envoy to Prime Minister Charles Grey II. I mean, the displays here are absolutely stunning. You could spend all day, and I think this kind of looks like their signature one, perhaps. That's Fleet Street, as busy as ever. So right behind me here, we have a Lady Grey tea and the English breakfast. So this is called the London Edition display. I mean, you could spend hours and hours of end on here. Now, these ones look quite fascinating. Sea salted caramel oat crunches, sea salted fudge. Oh, these are their confectionery. Cranberry and oat crumbles. Now we're going to put a link onto the website so that you can officially shop yourselves, folks. And no doubt a lot of you will buy some of these milk chocolate chunk biscuits. Oh my God, I am so buying them today. I know you guys, you are going to absolutely love it in here. And this gives us all of the history. So it's kind of like a museum of tea as well. It's not just about shopping in here. And it takes you through all of the history of tea up to the present day. And we have 1706, Tom's Coffee House was founded. 1717, the Golden Lion. 1749, taking tea across the sea. So that's when they started to export tea. I believe one of the governors of Boston was a loyal customer. And luckily, during the Boston Tea Party in 1773, none of our tea suffered at the rebels' hands, it says. And we have 1784, the father of British tea drinking. And his name was Richard Twining, Mary's son. So it's kind of like a historic family tree of the Twining family. This is about making their mark. The Chinese figure, 1787. The store's entrance that you see today was commissioned by Richard Twining, Thomas Twining's grandson. The two Chinese figures represent the origins of tea in China. First pre-packaged tea in Twinings was in the 1880s. Then in 1899, the first printed advert. And here we have keeping spirits high. Now, I found this quite fascinating too. During World War II and the rationing of food and tea was put into place, tea was also rationed, but this didn't stop the determination of the spirit of Twinings. They produced tea for the Red Cross prisoner of war parcels, the Women's Voluntary Service, and many YMCA wartime canteens. Now, this is the King's Coronation Tea, limited edition, ladies and gents. If you want a little piece of coronation history, just look on the website and that will bring you directly to this limited edition King's Coronation Darjeeling blend, which is said to be King Charles's favorite blend of tea, by the way. Now, here is Thomas Twining. This was painted by William Hogarth, the very famous artist. And he was the original master blender here, Thomas Twining. The portrait was painted in the 1700s. And according to family legend, William was a loyal customer at the Golden Lion. I've also heard Jane Austen shopped in here. And it's most likely Dr. Samuel Johnson would have shopped in here. As a young artist, though, William Hogarth didn't have the funds to pay off his tab. So a deal was struck. In order to clear his bill, William would paint Thomas's portrait for all to see and enjoy. That was an incredibly genius business deal. A William Hogarth painting. Now, ladies and gents, so we're here at the Classics and the Earl Greys. We're back to again. We have Earl Grey and Lady Grey. Now, the pricing here is about £8. It's a very reasonably priced as well. The English breakfast, of course, £8. I must find out what is the most sold Twinings tea. But for right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to have a little chat with one of the experts in the store, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about this incredible exhibit they have here, ladies and gents. Ladies and gents, let me introduce you to the wonderful Julia. And Julia has been working in the tea blending station for Twinings Tea for how long, Julia?
I started 8 years ago.
Oh my God, but there's extensive training to be an employee here, right?
Yes, definitely.
And how many years would you have to train for in order for you to?
To be honest with you, we do quite rigorous training for a couple of months when you're first there, learning all about the history and tea in general, and then also plantation to cup and how the tea plant grows and all the teas.
Okay.
But really the main bit when you sort of pass all your training is when you do your first masterclass. So we do masterclasses downstairs, and we do 2 practice masterclasses before you do them to the public. And they're incredible because they're a way in which you sort of engage completely with your customers. We talk all about the history of tea, history of Twinings, obviously, because that's the most important thing, plantation to cup, and then you taste the 6 categories of tea. And I think then you get to know what questions people are asking. We talk at the tasting bar a lot, and you just learn more. We feel like we're always in training because I'm always learning new things all the
Julia,
time.
forgive me. I really genuinely didn't realise that it was such a professionally run organisation. I expected to see you just walk in off the shop floor and just sell tea. But not at all. You need to know your history of tea. You need to know your blends, the different flavours in order for you to work with Twinings.
Definitely.
Phenomenal.
Because customers come in, like our customers really do want to know the specifics. They want to know where the tea is grown. It's sort of like which altitude, yes, what blends we're making specifically, they also want to know, and this leads on to like our Sourced with Care program.
This is very interesting to me now.
Yes.
This is their Sourced with Care program, and she speaks far more eloquently than I can about this program that they're involved in. So I'm going to let Julia take the floor here and just explain to us a little bit more about the importance of this Sourced with Care campaign of Twinings.
So the important thing really is that Twinings have never owned plantations. We never have done, we don't own them.
Amazing.
So we need to be able to buy from plantations that we trust. So we need to make sure that the employees that work on the plantations are given the best possible care that they can, that they have fair working conditions, that there's no child employment, there's no slave labour, no bribery, corruption.
Wow.
Lots of like a tick list that we all assume is happening anyway, but it's obviously not always the case. Now, Twinings has been was a founding member of the Ethical Tea Partnership in 1997, which is a charitable, not-for-profit organisation. But in 2017, we decided we need to do something more as well.
Okay.
So we developed our Sourced with Care programme. And this touch point in the shop really showcases it. You can pop in the postcards here and it showcases these different people's stories.
But look at this amazing station here. And now this is what I love about this place. It's more like a museum than just a store. And there is a chap called Stephen Twining, one of the master blenders, but the 10th generation original Twining. And these are 7 of their master blenders. Is that correct? Am I using the right terminology?
Yes, master blenders.
Rishi Deb, William Griffin, and we have Yvonne Huang, Jeremy Sturgis, and Bryony Osmond. My apologies if but look what they've done here, which is absolutely brilliant. So we'll have a little chat with William Griffin, see what he has to say. You just open this up.
My greatest passion is travel, and I am very lucky to find a job that involves visiting stunning tea gardens all around the world.
So that gives you an idea. It tells you about each of the individual blenders. Now, before we sample some tea, of course, there has been a huge surge in wellness. We know this is massively important to people nowadays, folks. And they have a whole incredible wellness range. And for ladies out there, we have several hormonal balance teas, particularly for menopausal cool moments, it's called, to help. And there's teas to help with digestion, to help unwind, to help us to relax, to help us to sleep. And that's become imperative to a lot of our actual daily routines. I love the matchas. The cleanse matcha is fabulous, but the lemon and ginger I think is absolutely beautiful. And of course there's been a huge rise in the uptake of turmeric. So you have detox teas, you have the boost teas. Now I'm going shopping here actually. So this then is their Loose Tea London edition collection. Now this loose leaf tea, so today we have, now there's been a huge turnaround, isn't there, as well? I mean, tea bags were introduced initially here in Twinings in 1950s, but they have seen a massive increase in the amount of loose tea. It's kind of come full circle, hasn't it? And people are blending their own. And all of these, again, are available to taste, to try before you buy, folks. So we've got 3 for 2 on the loose leaf range here. Everyone that I ever bring in here, they always end up buying all around them, folks. So that is Russian Caravan. We've high-grown Kenyan, my apologies. And here we have spicy chai, lemongrass and peppermint, and orange and cinnamon. Look at the loose leaf, ladies and gents. Doesn't it look amazing? I think we're going to see what we're going to try before we buy down here. And this is some of the flavoured teas. We have peach and orange and cinnamon. Wow, this is my favourite one. There's a lemon and ginger one there that I absolutely love. There's a peach and orange, mango and strawberry, English breakfast, strong English breakfast. But the flavoured ones are lovely. They're lovely at night time too. Apple, cinnamon and raisin. I'm going to say something quite controversial here, but it's the one thing I cannot eat, and I know you guys are going to absolutely annihilate me for it. I'm not good with cinnamon, but I do love apples and raisins, so maybe I'll try it. Got a few little bits of merchandise if you'd like to treat yourself to a nice little Twinings teapot. And I'm sure that there's gift certificates available as well. Oh, this is, I must buy one of these. I love a good tote bag. That's the Twinings tea store tote bag. And all the different blends. Mexican, Swiss chocolate drink. Okay, so let's try a couple of the samples here. So these ladies have tried before they buy, but they're going to be part of a tea masterclass. She just told me she's going to have a little tea masterclass downstairs that we can film, and I am thrilled that I can bring you along, you guys. So let's see. These are the loose leaf teas here on offer again. We've white tea, green tea, yellow tea. I think there's 6 different blends of tea actually. Yeah, Oolong tea. She's going to tell us a little bit more about this. I'm super excited. I didn't even realize. But now this is what we have on offer right now. Julia, what have you got for me?
So we have the King's Coronation Tea first of all. So this is very special for us.
Oh,
so it's a blend of first and second flush Darjeeling, which is the spring and summer harvest blended together. We've then also iced it and added sparkling lemonade to it because we like to do different things.
Tea with iced sparkling lemonade.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
super excited.
Because the whole point then is it's doing something slightly different with tea. So sometimes you might have somebody that's been brought along to the shop, they're not necessarily the tea fan, they become with somebody and then they try this and they're like, oh, it's not just tea, in inverted commas, there's so many things.
Because you can blend tea with so much.
Course,
Look at, I mean, the southern United States is all iced tea and sweet iced tea and lemon peach iced tea. Absolutely, yeah.
So there's lots of things you can do with it, and we like to sort of, I mean, Twinings as a whole anyway, the innovation is huge, so it's like looking at different projects they can do.
Fantastic.
And then this is our Earl Grey with lavender. So obviously we're very famous for Earl Grey because Earl Grey was blended in 1831 for the second Earl Grey. He was Prime Minister of England at the time.
Love that story. It's so incredible.
Exactly. And then this is basically our classic Earl Grey but with a twist. So it still has the bergamot, but it's also got lavender with it as well. So that makes
fantastic. Oh, okay, so can I sample? I'm going to try the Coronation Tea, and then I'll try a small bit of the
iced version.
The iced tea, because I've tasted like Earl Grey 1,000 times, but I'm sure I haven't tasted your signature one. Okay, so I get to taste this. This is the most incredible thing. Is that the King's Coronation Tea? Am I right in saying that King Charles's favourite tea is Darjeeling, apparently?
Well, to be honest with you, we don't actually know because it's a very closely guarded secret in general. But
I'm going to find out. I'm going to find out for you.
If you look at all the tea companies that made a blend for the Coronation, though, they were all Darjeeling. So I think we can sort of probably say as a rule of thumb, it must mean something.
That is so smooth. It's absolutely beautiful. Oh my God, put that on my shopping list, please, later on.
And that with a piece of cake is just...
Oh my God, that's delicious, folks. You have got to come in and try some of these. Let's see, she's going to give me a little bit of the iced tea.
And then this one is iced with sparkling lemonade.
I'm being spoilt in here, you guys. No, I actually can't cope. That is spectacular. So what you've done is you've put the King's Coronation Tea just with sparkling lemonade.
So what we did is we made it into a slightly stronger concentrate. Iced and added the lemon.
So you made it a slightly stronger concentrate, and then you've added sparkling.
Yeah, it takes literally 5 minutes to do, and then we have like a recipe card and everything.
Oh my God. So I'll leave the recipe card there. We'll put a link to that recipe card or a picture or even at the bottom.
Yeah, of course.
I'll just leave it there for a minute. You can always pause your video, folks. You're technological whizzes now. And that'll tell you how to make. And you have recipes for a lot of these teas, don't you?
Lots of different ones, yeah. So we do lots of iced teas on the bar every day, as well as our classic blends in general.
That is so refreshing, folks. I am not joking, and that's the best thing I've tasted in a long time. I'm overwhelmed by the place. I didn't really see it as a museum before, but there's so much to do and you can spend hours. You did tell me, Julie, that one chap was here for 2 hours one day.
Yes.
That people come in here, they take this extremely seriously.
It is shopping list. Ticking things off
and asking for specific blends and you to blend teas, etc., for their parents and families.
So with the blending thing, it's less that we do on the shop floor here, but we do blending classes downstairs.
Oh my God, okay.
So it's like a blending masterclass more than anything.
And that's where we're going to have a look now.
Yeah, so this is going to be our masterclass that we have here, but you can see the room that we do the blending class in as well.
Fantastic. And you're going to conduct the masterclass?
I am, yes.
Julia, you're a genius. Let's do this, you guys. We're heading downstairs to this amazing masterclass. Head downstairs and they're going to show us where they're... Now, the tea masterclasses usually take about 2 hours, but they're just going to show me some of the highlights of the tea masterclass. And we're heading down the stairs. I didn't even... Oh, my God. Look at these lovely ladies are here for the tea masterclass today. Hi, ladies. How are you? I hope you don't mind me joining and filming.
Oh, my gosh. Come on in.
Oh, my God. Epic. So we get a little... Do we have one of these in front? A white tea, yellow tea, green tea, oolong tea, black tea, and...
Pu'er.
Pu'er. Well, I'm going to leave the expert up to you. I'm going to take a little seat. But let me just show you this room, folks. Look how fabulous this is. And you get to spend, so how many, what's the maximum you keep in here, Julia?
I say 8 people, so
You
it's
can
comfortable.
So you keep it at very intimate levels,
Yes,
so that,
yeah.
oh my God, so this is where you would come for your tea masterclass.
Yeah, so this is a beautiful flowering tea. So it's got a little marigold flower inside it.
I can't believe tea can be hand stitched.
It's very special actually, because the amazing thing about it being hand sewn in this way is that it has to be sewn in the way that it doesn't just fall apart completely when you put it in the water, but it does slowly dissolve in a way in which it can open up.
That
So
tea
it's
is
very, very
stitched.
special. Yeah, so this one is a flowering tea. I can show you the actual one of it as well.
Oh, wow.
And it's got a tiny little marigold, so you can see the marigold flower coming out. But the interesting thing is it just takes time. So the person who trained me in the very beginning stages when I started working here said it was like a wooing tea, because the time it takes to properly woo somebody. So it looks like it's ready now, but it's not ready just yet. It was slowly, slowly.
That's okay.
Even though this looks lovely, I'm sure we can all agree.
Oh my God, it's flowering. That's so cool. Oh my God, look how excited we are. This is a little flower coming out of the
I mean, I
tea.
did
This
say
is
it was going to happen. I
insane.
didn't think it was going to happen that quickly.
Oh my God, so we have to wait for it to flower. That's
Yeah, it's beautiful,
amazing.
isn't it?
Amazing.
First of all, about the tea plant itself.
this.
So all tea comes from
this.
one plant, and that's the most important thing to know. So Camellia sinensis is the tea plant, and then there are 6 categories of tea. There are only 6 at the moment. Oolong means black dragon, and it was named after the gentleman who found it, or basically created it by accident. And even my colleague Pei, who comes from Taiwan, which is one of the most famous areas for oolong in the world, she said that when they're in Taiwan, they say when they make a mistake, they made an oolong. So it's still this kind of like little joke thing here as making something by accident. So I can give you a little cup of the white tea here as well. So white tea is the most delicate type of tea that you can get, really. It's the least processed type of tea. All that happens is it is plucked, it's withered slightly just to reduce moisture content, and then it's sun-dried. Now the good thing about that is because all tea in some way, when they're actually processing it, they tend to roll it. So with the white tea, they don't have to, because it's like a bud within a bud, so when the hot water goes on, you still get that flavour coming out. With Longjing here, they actually push it against the sides of the panna, so it goes in these lovely like flat leaf shapes. If you take one of these young buds from the plant, because the white tea, the silver tips, the silver needles is just the bud of the plant itself. There's a line along one side of it, you'll see, and if you open it up, you can see it's a bud and a leaf.
Yeah.
So when they pluck them, they have to make sure that they pluck it at a time
wow.
where they're like nice fat buds, where there's lots of things inside them, lots of like juicy flavour to give you the most out of it. So we've given you little sort of pointers here. And none of these are things that I've just created on the spot and made up for you. These are all things from our Master Blenders tasting wheels. So when you see things like wet rock or paint resin, they're not things that I've decided to have. They're actually things that they use to describe certain teas. I would say I don't think we have a paint resin tea on the board today, but never say never. And actually there was a lady once who came and did a tea tasting with me, and she tasted the green tea that we now no longer have, not for any other reason, but we just don't have it anymore. And she said it tasted like KFC, and I didn't tell her that she couldn't carry. I was very nice about it, so I'll be lovely to you too. Okay, so whatever you think, there is no wrong answer, even if you think it tastes like KFC.
It's the second biggest consumed beverage in the world, isn't it?
After water.
After,
And
I
you
mean,
need
that's
water
insane.
to make tea. So
Incredible.
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to let the ladies to their tea tasting. This gives you an idea, ladies and gents, of how long. You've got 2 hours. Ladies, thank you for letting me interrupt you during your tea tasting. Julia, continue on. You've been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much. Ladies and gents, this tea tasting experience, we're going to leave links in the description of how you can book this. You can book it individually, or you can book it as a nice little private party. It would be a great idea for 8 of them. And the expert, Julia, will take you through 2 hours of the history of tea, where you get to taste every blend, including this little beauty here. That is Twinings, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me. Julia, thank you so much. You've been an absolute pleasure. Ladies, thanks again. And we will be back. All links will be in the description. Thanks for watching, you guys. Sinead here with Free Tours by FTBFLondon. It's been an amazing morning. I've thoroughly enjoyed myself. Talk to you soon.